What's going on? It's Mando Crusader, and welcome to episode 10 of Sunless Skies. Last episode, we took a little trip around Albion. We discovered Woolbury Juxtamar, a totally normal carnival. And we ended off here at the Most Serene Mausoleum, next to the corpse of Albion's dead son. So, this episode, we're going to be exploring the mausoleum and basically finishing our circuit around Albion, seeing what we can find. Before I get into this, though, I just want to mention that, hey, if you like my content, like my videos, it really helps the channel. Subscribing and ringing the bell also really helps my channel, so please do that as well. And leave a comment. Suggest games you would like me to play. I do take suggestions. And yeah, with that all out of the way, let's jump right into this. So we are currently at the nave. So the soaring sepulchral heart of the Most Serene Mausoleum, constructed over the cooling embers of Albion's murdered son, the mausoleum was built to house London's most glorious dead. So, Kensington Station. Kensington Station is tucked into a side chapel. An elderly footman is lighting candles while waiting to guide visitors into the mausoleum proper. Be escorted inside. The footman watches you alight from your engine. He coughs meaningfully. Amongst the dead. Lighting a fresh taper, which he carries in a silver holder, the footman leads you through a narrow arch and down a winding spiral stair. You can hear weeping close by, but the echoes make it hard to discern the source. Soon after, you hear a sharp burst of laughter and music. Occasionally, you can make out the rubble of what the footman confirms to be the London Necropolis Railroad far below. At the very bottom is an oak-paneled door. The footman unlocks the door, bows, and departs. The footman disappears into the gloom, leaving you alone, facing a desk shaped like a baptismal font. A cheery registrar sits in the middle, waiting to greet you. Introduce yourself. There are protocols that must be followed in the mausoleum. An introduction and a warning. She has you fill out a form indicating your profession, age, usage of hours, and to confirm your legal status as alive. I would hope I am. The Prince Consort's tomb is exceedingly popular. To prevent congestion, donations are requested. The greater the donation, the longer you will be allowed to gaze upon the sepulchre. If one is fortunate enough to garner the attention of one of the deathless, one must be respectful and only speak when spoken to. It does not do for the living to linger among the dead. She files away your form into an exceedingly large black cabinet. So, here we are, finally in the mausoleum. Visitors to the Most Serene Mausoleum are ushered into the nave, a vast soaring vault above the heart of the mausoleum. Here, guests of the mausoleum may visit the tomb of the Prince Consort, arrange for the burial of their own dead in the catacombs, or merely enjoy the solemn environs of the Empress's monument to her departed love. So, first things first, as always, write a port report. The Most Serene Mausoleum is, if not the heart of Her Renewed Majesty's domain, then at least its pulmonary valve. The Most Serene Mausoleum endures. The catacombs grow as the necropolis line brings more bodies for burial. Sorry about that. Traders bring fresh hours into the mausoleum. Endowments in the Empress for the deathless interred in their vaults. Plans are in motion to add a new chapel to the nave, while the deathless petition for a new, separate station for the exclusive use of their servants. Death has never been so much in motion. Right, so, we need 4 affiliation academia. We have 1. Can we get it up to... No, okay. So that's a side quest. that we can get once we get 4 affiliation academia. That will require us to go to the Well of the Wolf. Contemplate the Dead Sun. I do not like those odds, so we're not going to do that. We could visit the Memorial of the Prince Consort, but that requires money, which I do not have. Well, I mean, I do have it, but I don't want to spend it on that. There we go. I guess approach the Deathless. Her renewed majesty's most highly favored courtiers prefer the upper climes, the nave, away from the excitable members of the public. Alright. So, the Most Serene Mausoleum houses more than just the Prince Consort. Under its soaring spires, the Empress keeps her most favored courtiers. These lucky few are provided with every luxury they might wish, and a generous stipend of hours. The only condition of this bounty is that they are dead. A legality only. They cannot possess property, nor hold political office as a result. They are the Deathless. Occasionally, they deign to appear to visitors. So we can speak with the Macabre Counselor. The reason that we want to do this is because there are 2 side quests here. The first is a story in Purduance, which we'll find eventually in Albion. And the second is how we unlock the secret ambition for what would be our next character in the lineage. It's actually my favorite ambition, the quest for the Martyr King's Cup. We can do either of those. I am going to, we only have a 40% chance of success, but I am going to speak with the Macabre Counselor. She is a former lady of the bedchamber and governess to at least some of her renewed majesty's children. Mortality is a preoccupation of hers. Alright. A failure. Found wanting. The counselor advances the nave like an old and cunning spider, trespassing on a rival's web. Her dark eyes dart, and her fingers curl and twitch. She notices your gaze and approaches lazily. She stands for a moment, surveying you curiously, while footmen watch on nervously. Her fingers grasp your arm, feeling the muscle in your bicep, the elasticity of your shoulders. Her grip is adamantine. Then, as suddenly as she appeared, she turns away, muttering, "Too vital," as she makes her stately departure. Alright, that's a bit odd. Well, that's all we can do here. So I guess we'll restock, and we will head out. I'm going to head to the south, and I suppose I'll see you when I find something. We're just gonna move. We're just gonna move away from that. Oh! Is this what I think it is? Oh, this is not... Oh! This is not what I thought it was. This is not what I thought it was. Run away! Alright then. I thought that was the Well of the Wolf. Moving on. Oh, a touch of the skies. Skyfarers exposed to the haunting light of the stars are prone to sudden obsessions and erratic behavior. One of your engineers has taken an oath of utter silence. He refuses to speak or make any sound at all. He has gagged himself and wrapped rags around his feet to muffle his footsteps. He refuses to employ either wrench or hammer. He is not, as it stands, much use. Well, alrighty then. That's mildly inconvenient. Let's just confine them to quarters. I'm a victim of the sky. They're no good to you in the state. You confine them to quarters and resolve to discharge them at the next port. The atmosphere aboard is subdued for a time, but it is understood that these things happen in the sky. The heaven's price, they call it. Alright, well, I've lost a crew, but that's fine. I only need, like, 4 on board, I think. So, yeah, that should be fine. Aha! Here it is. This is what I thought this was. Yeah, this is the Well of the Wolf. You don't really need to stop by now. Yeah, what's the harm, right? Approaching the Well of the Wolf. A hole in the sky. Torrents of celestial mist pour into it. Shelves of black ice poke from its throat. One of the shelves extends over the well mouth in a narrow spur. At its end stands a pitted cast iron bandstand. Alright. Descend to the gale and land in a sheaf of ice. The well wind bays like a dog refusing to leave its master's grave. Your driver wrestles the rising winds. You will land, but you risk damaging your hull. I'm sure it'll be fine. Told ya. Descent. Your engine bucks like a dying pig. Its hull groans. Gritty black particulate clatters at the windows. With a last lurch, your locomotive crunches onto the grimy ice. Your driver exhales. A good landing, not a gentle one. When you emerge from your engine, the winds push at you like a schoolyard bully. The cold bites. Beyond the lip of the black permafrost, the well mouth gapes, wide enough to swallow worlds. Away from the edge, a cluster of hexagonal cave mouths perforate an icy cliff face. The yellow eyes of devils gleam inside them. Oh! Perfect! I've completely forgot about this. There is something inside the well. Whatever it is, the devils would like it gone. Please. 80% chance. Failure? Here? Ow! The devils chill you to the lip of the well, their faces weighted with expectation. Something is yowling plaintively from the abyss. Something mortal and odiously off-key. You go onto your stomach and lean over the edge, a hand thrust in the void. For moments there is nothing but the noise, nothing but the cold and the sense you profaned something sacred. Then your fingers brush against fur. Surprised by the contact, the beast bites down on your palm and retreats. Ouch! This wasn't how it was meant to go. Gain 5 terror. Oh, we're gonna do it again. There we go. A new friend. So the same thing, except with considerable effort, you extract a round-bellied, snaggle-toothed, long-clawed lump of a cat. The devils are relieved at your success and insist you depart with the aggravated feline as soon as possible. So we have gained the useless cat. Which, I mean, there is no such thing, obviously. I, for one, welcome our new feline overlord. But, yeah, so we have a companion now. So that means, I forget what stats it influences, but we'll find out in a second. Let's see. Speak to the congregation of devils. They emerge, curious from the caves. Once they were dapper in pinstripe or delicate in brocade. Now they wear rags. Their brocade is frayed. Their pinstripes faded to porgy gray. New voices. You ask about their lives here. Silence. When you persist, one steps forward and opens his mouth as wide as he can. Plain song emerges, sweet with a sonorous drone. The devil's lips and tongue aren't moving. The song is coming from deeper in its throat. You stand on tiptoes. The devil leans obligingly forward. You peer past his tongue, his tonsils, his gullet, and see a large compound eye. Insectoid, iridescent, peering back at you from his chest cavity. The devil steps back. That is all for now, it seems. Alright then. That's normal. Approach a stone idol. A large fragment of sky rock has fallen here. It has been graven by the wind by long-forgotten tools into a bulbous shape perforated by holes of different sizes. It moans, it whistles. The shapeless idol looms over you. Someone has scratched jagged teeth underneath its holes, transferring them to many, many mouths. A heavy hook is affixed into the stone, just higher than you can reach, while at the base of the idol, 2 depressions have been dug into the ice. The first holds a knout, with hooks knotted into its thongs. The second holds a buckled scrap of something like leather. Right. Can't do anything there. Let's approach the bandstand. The journey to the bandstand is bleak and exposed. The well waits on either side. If you look down, you imagine movement in its calignous depths. A temptation wells in you to fling yourself from the ice and into the abyssum. You avert your eyes swiftly. The thing in the well begins to howl, and the winds scurry in search of kinder spaces. It is a hollow, keening sound, the distress of something that can't believe it still has more to lose. The ice groans miserably. Watch a well song. Alright. All of this sounds perfectly normal, if you ask me. The devils struggle out in their wasted finery, out into the teeth of the wind. In a trudging line, they make their way to the bandstand. Reunion. The devils mount the bandstand and begin to sing. Their lips are motionless, their mouths hanging slackly open. Buzzing plain song pours from their throats. The notes are scattered across the scale, creating only a tenuous harmony. Slowly they begin to shuffle what might be a dance. Its movements are performed only with the feet. Are they drawing an alphabet? Hieroglyphs? The well's wail drowns them out, but they persist. After some time, the well begins to waver. The wind slackens. Slowly, over the course of another hour, the well returns to quiescence. The devils, wearied, go back to their caves. Well, whatever that was, we've gained a visions of the heavens from it. And the devils are using a dance alphabet in their services. Perhaps you could learn it? Alright. So, if we want to decipher the dance alphabet, we will need a moment of inspiration and a searing enigma. Alright, so we gotta remember that for when we come back here next. And that seems to be all. So we are going to leave this wonderful place as it tries to pull me back in. And we are going to carry on. We've almost completed the circuit. So, yeah, we should be ready to plan our next move soon. Oh. Glass shards. This can only mean one thing. One thing. Well then, we have found the clockwork sun. This is a momentous occasion. We have to just fly right over it. There it is in all its glory. The sun. The sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. As its glory is tanking my computer. We have arrived. Sunspur. The dock is rarely used, and its maintenance has lapsed. There's evidence of rust and metal strain, but only of non-crucial components. It's safe to stop, for now. Once inside the dock, the sun's scouring light is diminished. Arrival at the Sun. An outpost on the roaring edge of the sun, shielded from malevolent light by an eggshell of stained glass. As you emerge from your train, suit-swaddled engineers gather, plainly astonished by your arrival. They bombard you with complex questions about how you dealt with the dense sunlight and skewed chronosolar fields. Once satisfied, they hand out protective suits to you and your crew. Yours is patched and torn, one boot missing. You successfully reached the Clockwork Sun. Shrug into your suit. An engineer sprays you with a substance that smells like lemons gone wrong and searches your pockets. A cursory effort at best, they seem distracted. Sunlight seeps like syrup through cracks like in the stained glass ceiling. The floor shudders in time with the churning machinery far beneath your feet. The air has a tang of chemicals, bonfires, and rain. Pistons pump, cogs turn, and suit-swaddled figures tend to the enginery, bellowing over the shrieking metal. Write a port report. The Clockwork Sun is the preeminent symbol of the Empire's heavenly dominion. The newspapers in London call it enduring, everlasting, and eternal. So yeah, this is I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. I'm so excited to get here. This is one of the coolest ports in the game. Obviously, anyone who knows anything about Fallen London knows about the sun. So yeah, we're gonna write a port report. The heart of the Empire. In response to your questions, the engineers shrug. The day dawns, the sun brightens. The night comes, the sun dims. What more is there to say? Some of them seem so exhausted they can barely stand. They insist that it's proximity to the sun that affects their sleep. We now have one yearning burning. Let's head towards the sundial-shaped building. You'll be the sequencer's new favorite project, one of the engineers tells you. It'll keep him out of our hair for a while. Azimuth. Azimuth is an enormous sundial without shadow, its roof topped by a golden shark fin gnomon. There are still racks of yellowed pamphlets on the walls. It once served as a kiosk selling tickets to sunspotters, the pilgrims and tourists that were expected to flock here. These days it is more like a temple. Frescoes on the curved walls depict the triumph of the new sun over the old. We've gained a second yearning burning. Perfectly safe, I'm sure. A figure in a yellow-colored protective suit is delivering a sing-song sermon to mostly empty pews. The dazzled sequencer looks up, delighted at your approach, and hurriedly wraps up his speech. He offers you tea with a flash of 2 white teeth. Ask the dazzled sequencer about his role in the sun. The only other people up here are disturbed prisoners and exhausted engineers. The sequencer's function. I am a priest of the new sequence, declares the sequencer. The brightest truth, the wildfire that has swept Albion. He points out at the expanse of the sun. There burns a beacon, a savior, an aspect of God. We venerate the Clockwork Sun and its immortal architect, our Empress. I am here to greet pilgrims and safeguard the souls of our engineers. Azimuth is also the only access route to the sun-shattered dome, an exhibition hall that was built back when we received more visitors. The dome is terribly dangerous, and I advise you to avoid it, no matter how much you hear about the priceless artifacts inside. Ooh. Let's see. Well, it looks like that will gain us terror. And we're not doing too good on that, so we're not going to do that right now. Also, it will take away our crew. That is less than ideal. The sequencer has a request. Together, we can help the less fortunate, he says. You will be compensated for your time. A charitable mission. There are many poor souls out there in need of our help. Beleaguered, ignorant masses. I have never met them, but I am assured they exist. He pauses to wipe his eyes. When we lift them from their contemptible state, perhaps they will come to appreciate the greatness of the sequence. He sends an orderly to fetch a wooden crate. Once it's set down before him, he wraps the lid proudly. 600 manuals on how to correctly tie a bow tie. Deliver these to Brasban Workworld, and I'm sure they will be immensely benefited by their improved understanding of etiquette. I have so many questions. How? You know what? Sure, man. Whatever. Whatever you say. Right. We can visit the glass house. There's a dozen signs warning you to stay away, each more insistent than the last. The engineers shout, but they're too busy to stop you. The glass house, an isolated section of the abandoned exhibition halls, has been repurposed to hold not treasures, but prisoners. Each wears a gray smock rather than a protective suit, leaving them utterly undefended from the ravages of sunlight. They sit slumped in unlocked cells, making no effort to escape. Where would they go? Some of the prisoners are shining at the seams. Some have eyes of curdled glass. A fractured face turns to watch you. A few are seen in praise of the sun, mouths bloody and throats tattered. You should perhaps be horrified, but the song wraps tender cords around your mind and numbs you. Glass crunches underfoot. When you lift your boot, you discover a cracked ear beneath. So, yeah. In case you hadn't noticed by all of the destruction around, this sun kind of turns everything into glass. Yeah. Let's approach the half glass empty. Only one cell is locked, and the man within is neither singing nor screaming. The left half of his body is shimmering, translucent. Only the flesh and muscle of his left half is vitrified, not the bones and blood within. The glass is suffused with 1,000 fine frozen capillaries, like delicate red cracks running through ice. He fixes you with an anguished stare. Get me out of here. Why is his cell locked and his alone? This was an exhibition hall once, never a prison. An engineer must have had to install those bars, especially for him. The empty's conviction. The others would not leave, even if they could. Their minds are lost. The empty attempts a one-sided shrug. And, well, the Empire sent me here because I was smuggling sunlight from the Neath, back before the horizon closed. When I sold it, I told my customers that the light was from the light from the clockwork sun was toxic, and true sunlight was the only cure. Ended up causing a minor panic in London. I think one of the engineers let me in because he took offense at my criticism, though. Though, he gestures at his vitrified body, I stand by it. You know what, man? You seem like a good guy. We're gonna help him escape. Agree to help the empty escape. A barely perceptible nod. The glass in his neck creaks. Half a smile. Thank you. His voice is hoarse, and he speaks barely a whisper. In barely a whisper. You will need to find a permit from a release and present it to the steward. Forged, legitimate, I don't care. We'll need to acquire 3 ministry-approved permits and present them to the broken steward to secure the half-glass empty's release. Also, excuse me, I didn't mean to, burp there. Right. Let's get out of there. Let's see. Descend toward the Terrasphere Vault. The vaults below are safer, protected by a dozen layers of stained glass. Beneath the machine-bristling surface, you find a ring of 9 vault doors, each engraved with the name of a classical muse. 8 are locked and barred, behind signs saying things like vacant or under renovation, or, in one case, unfortunate chronological discrepancies. The 9th, marked Terrascore, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, is the only door open to you. When you enter, your footsteps ring through dusty barracks and abandoned canteens. These are the engineers' quarters, but they are all on the surface, working, except one. The broken steward has been working on the sun since before it first shone. She has been here far, far longer than any of the engineers above. The broken steward makes her way carefully toward you, cane clacking on the floor. She has a markedly stiff-limbed gait, and her arms creak as she removes her helmet. Let's speak with the broken steward. She smiles. Her teeth glint oddly. The broken steward. She catches you glancing at her mouth and smiles even wider. Her teeth are shards of cracked glass, protruding at odd angles from her gums. It's not just the teeth, she says with a brusque air that brooks no sympathy. Damned son turned my bones as well. Terrible nuisance, really. It gets in the way of work. You notice her fixed neck, her stiff limbs, her careful movements. It's not too bad, she says. Good thing I like soup. Yep. That is normal. That is what we call normal. Alright. So, I think that about does it for this episode. What a place to end it on, The Clockwork Sun. It truly is one of my favorite ports in the game. Right. So, I think next episode, we've basically completed our circumnavigation at this point. I think we're going to head back to the Reach next episode, because we have a lot to do there. We have to, finish the Albert Clock, deliver a settler, do the retiring filmmaker, start the smuggling story. We've got a lot of stuff to do in the Reach. So, yeah, I think that's what we're going to do next episode. But thank you all for watching. Remember, if you like this episode, leave it a like, subscribe, ring the bell, and I do take game requests, so comment any games you'd like me to play below. And with that, yeah, I think that's about it. See you in the next episode.